Well, when we last left our heroes, it was
It was a
40,
slow pullback from the coffee shop as we were shutting it down for the night.
45 pieces of fiction later. We're back. I mean, 45, 46, 47. It's like that joke from the Oscars yesterday. The show's been going for 45 minutes, so Black Panther has made another $48 million. Um, all right, so bit of a delay getting started, so probably somebody wrote something in the meantime, uh, which I desperately appreciated. Not making fun of it. I couldn't interact as much as I would have liked to because last week was crazy. So, as we mentioned a couple times, yes, last time we were playing, uh, school was up the next day. Everybody had a bit of a rough Sunday, I think. Uh, and we will start with, I think we'll say we're starting season 2 with sort of a school assembly in like the auditorium or the gym, probably the gym.
Oh, for the love of...
Gotta start a quarter with
Can it be in the cafetorium? Because I've always hated that word.
Yes, it can be in the cap. No, I think Gardner probably doesn't have a This is a high school. Cafetoriums are really more of a middle school jam.
Okay.
I don't know that I don't see those a lot as much in the high schools, either because they're slightly older buildings or what, but you don't see those nearly as much.
Man, you people in your separate middle schools and high schools and elementaries.
You know.
Well, my daughter didn't do that for the first 6 years. It was all one big building for her, but that did not work out very well. She had one big school, but now she's in a middle school with as many kids in the middle school as the entire 12 grades had in the other school that she was in. So
Makes sense.
bit of a trade-off. Yeah, you got 1,300 kids in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in her class, in her school rather.
They had 400 people in that school.
Boo Creek.
Well, she's not in Creek yet. She's just in a Creek feeder.
Boo Creek Associated School. Boo.
Okay. But she's aiming
I
for
have fought for going to Arapahoe. Trust me.
Yeah, that's probably where.
No, it's just general animosity.
Of course. But I don't see that in the high school. High schools tend to have the more of the dedicated stuff, or the buildings are older. I actually think when I was a little kid, I remember like this old school that we had that actually had what would be called the cafetorium these days, which is you have lunch in this big room, and at the end of the big room is a built-in stage. That's actually not a new thing. It's just the terrifying portmanteau that gets used to name it now. No, Gardner's kind of like I said, it's a private school. It's a bit of a prep school. They don't have cafetoriums. That's for the hoi polloi. That's for the plebes.
Rude.
So they don't do that sort of thing. But they will go to the gym probably and do yeah, we'll say there's an actual auditorium where everybody goes in and speaks. I haven't detailed.
Yeah, they have to have some kind of auditorium for plays and such.
There's a bit. Let's just say you're at capacity. Gardner didn't take as many people as some of the other schools did. Frankly, they didn't need to take any because they're a private school, but they took mostly like the advanced AP kids, that kind of stuff. Kids on like advanced IEPs and things like that is who they ended up taking. Or people that possibly
which is why private schools can end up looking like they're so much better than the non-private schools because they have the ability to select who they take.
Yep. So they're taking those kids on, or it's either that or possibly a murmur behind closed doors between certain Aegis officials and other people to say this kid, and this kid need to be moved over here. And
these kids do not have the appropriate security clearance to go to the school.
Yeah. And just for fun, let's have Harry Gale be the mentor slash guide for. I'm just gonna randomly pick this Adam Amari kid because he's younger. Let's have him. Let's have Harry Gale take care of him. And let's put Jason Quill in charge of touring these two kids over here, and so on and so forth. It's a little bit less of a secret deal now, since Link's been sort of self-outed. It was just YouTube, except for the fact that it's been like bounced to a number of different. That was an interesting thing in that it's like, well, it's just YouTube and it's just this thing. It's likely going to be picked up, except for the fact that right now everybody cares who the Menagerie is because there's all this drama about Viertovia and Congress, right. And so now people actually probably care a lot more than they normally would. Yeah, Ted Waters has been uncharacteristically, well, I shouldn't say uncharacteristically. He's been relatively silent, just kind of pinging, make sure everything's okay after the fight and that kind of thing. But he hasn't said anything yay or nay about that particular development. Although you'll notice that in the little fiction thing that I wrote up between the various agents and stuff, he totally pretended like it was absolutely the plan going in, to that he knew about it ahead of time and we were doing it on purpose for various reasons and all that kind of stuff. So.
And Leo was fully expecting to get a text from him saying, "Here's the reason you decided to do it."
Yeah, I like that. And yeah, probably something along those lines would definitely have come across. He doesn't say.
If he gave the Rosa Rook reason, Leo would be like, "Yeah, that's actually not bad. I'll take that."
Yeah. He doesn't say it exactly like that. It's more like, I informed Koss again what our reasoning was for having you come out, specifically blah 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 blah. Because even then the way it's written is such to, it's not like, hey, I made up a thing that you should know what our cover story is. It's I let him know what was going on. Because as you know, John, the reason was blah 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 blah. Anyway, so the General Assembly, I didn't detail the assistant principal. I kind of burned my best move by having the assistant principal be the guy that I like so much and have him be at the other school. So I have to still kind of think about the assistant principal. Most of the assembly, you got the teachers lined up there at the front. They don't have all of the staff up on the stage. They have like the heads of the various departments. So you do get the guys that I linked earlier sort of sitting up there. I accept all of the various little bits of fan fiction that Dave has already written about them, which is to say, one sentence for everybody.
Oh, if you want, I can write fan fiction.
No, it's fine. I did spend a little bit of time seeing if I could come up with a good text meme for each of them, and I'm not quite there yet. I'm getting there. So those are the main folks. As the head of a department, Mr. Hayden seems remarkably young, but then again, so does, technically it's Mr. Cha because it's flip-flopped, I think. I think Kil Young is technically his first name. I might have gotten that wrong.
I looked up it looked like Cha's actually the
first name. Oh, there you go.
First name, yeah.
All right, there you go then. I like him doing the association, like the same hat all the way through. And then he stacks them up at the front of puts them on little hat holders and stuff like that during the test so you can get the free association.
So you can associate it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Gardner does that kind of thing. And Gardner's the kind of place that actually has the funding and stuff to get, a multiple published PhD as the head of the science department. If not Gardner, then who really? Because, you do have some out supers and stuff here. Now they've added to that, certainly. So the General Assembly is pretty straightforward, just welcoming the new students, encouraging everybody who's already here at Gardner to, after everything that we've gone through and everything that we've, withstood over the course of the break, coming back here and welcoming our new arrivals with open arms and, welcoming and assist them in whatever way if you see a student in need of assistance or guide or anything like that out in the halls, we expect each of you, of course, to step up in traditional gardener fashion and put your best foot forward and help them out, all that sort of thing. Are you so, Leah? You'd said and Waters would have made sure that this road was paved. Are both Summer and Aria both attending at this point?
That's my intention. Yes.
Okay, then that will be, they're twin sisters. They're probably sitting. Are any of you sitting together? I don't know that Harry and Jason didn't actually hang out that much in school anyway, but I don't know if are any of you guys sitting together as such at this point or no? Jason?
Oh, Jason probably finds himself inadvertently seated right between Summer and Arya.
No. They're sitting together.
Yeah.
It's like Leo, Arya, Summer, and the girls are thick as, I don't want to say thick as thieves, but they're certainly they've taken twin language to a whole new level. But sitting somewhere in that vicinity. Summer's perfectly happy to see you, and he's yet another surprise. 2 days in a row now. It's like, hey, I'm not gonna be staying at the compound, and then you run into her, 2 times in a row.
Yes, I smile and wave, and
she waves you over to. She waves you over and looks around. There's not an empty seat next to her, but there's like an empty seat next to Leo. It gestures that way.
Sure. I'll sit next to Leo. Hey.
Well.
Welcome. Welcome to Gardner Academy.
Thanks.
So much awkward. So who else have we got here? We've established No is going to be here in this little thing. Taz is here. Probably. I mean, that whole class that Leo was in for science was sort of AP Chem, so you're likely to get a couple of those kids in there.
Jason, that bathroom is higher tech than my lab.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. They got a grant. I'm not quite sure how, but they got a grant.
They've got like they've got a science research grant. They've got a
it was a combination biology, sociology, and civil engineering grant. I don't ask.
And they're one of the few, if not, I'm not going to say the only, but one of the few high schools in the nation that's got like some permissible, like, everybody in the faculty does not get taken to jail if hypertech accidentally occurs in the labs because of the kids that they've got around and stuff like that, and also the faculty's credentials and that sort of thing.
Locker rooms still stink.
Yeah, that's true. That's
there are universal constants.
No way you can get rid of that.
Zippo lighters, locker room stench.
Unavoidable. And Jason, you also while the address is going on, you get your phone buzzes with a text. They of course have a strict no use of phones, during classes and assemblies policy. But what do you do?
That's hilarious.
Well, I'm just saying they have the policy. I'm not saying it's observed by anybody.
I will try to be very subtle about checking out what the message is.
You don't have a Bluetooth mic embedded in your head someplace?
A little heads-up display over my contact lens. No, I left that at home today.
It says, "Hello, hero." I like that. I'm trying not to make you cough anymore than you already are.
That was Jason.
A surreptitious glance turns into staring, turns into
turns into staring, turns into a cough. And I'm going to slip the phone back into my pocket because I can't be subtle about engaging in that kind of conversation right at the moment.
Subtle?
Interesting. Okay. All right. So that's going on. Harry, you were actually assigned by the assistant principal to kind of show this new student, Adam Amari, around. He's in our accelerated program now. He's been transferred over from Halcyon High South. If you wouldn't mind showing him around a little bit, we just needed one of our seniors around to, kind of help him acclimate it. And we figured you were up to speed.
Of course.
The assistant
Hello,
principal
Adam.
cannot
I'm
leave us.
Harry.
Hi, Harry.
Hello, Harry, whom I have never met before. You're my sister's third favorite superhero.
I was told to get a picture with you if I ever saw you.
Well, we can certainly do that.
So you might be sitting over. Are you guys sitting together during the assembly?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Taking selfie together.
Eye contact with Andy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She came in with TK is out. Alloy's not here. Armature's not here. Animal definitely isn't here. Animal's the mascot. So yeah, she came in with TK, but gave you a wave, kind of a thing. So that seems to be not horrible? Question mark. At this point, not horrible.
Internal screaming.
Okay. So you have no idea what the principal says, what any of the faculty members say, and it's not a particularly long assembly, although he does make a point of mentioning that the school will be on like sort of the sort of schedule that you use on the days when the midweek schedule, when the study hall is especially long and all the classes are like 10 minutes shorter to make up for it. So they're going to be on that scheduled day, except for the fact that the study hall is not going to be long, just to make up for the assembly schedule. He's taking a lot longer to explain that than anybody from Gardner really needs, because whenever there's an assembly, you do the same thing. So everybody basically gets it. He's just sort of taking that extra step to explain it all because new people. And none of the new people will have ever been to an assembly before, clearly, apparently. So there you go. Meanwhile, Charlotte, you have a rumpled looking individual meandering his way through your cemetery, coming up on the hill, and with he's got like sort of glasses on, and he keeps kind of like pulling them. He's like coming over to gravestones, and he's kind of peering over his glasses at them and then looking at them through his glasses and checking his paper, and he's working his way up through and checking like a little map guide to the cemetery and that sort of thing. He's carrying like a valise.
Is it the one that was done by I have an image of it in my photo stuff.
Is what the person or
No, the guide he's looking at.
oh Yeah, well, it's meant to be one where you can like sort of get a general idea. It looks like this dude. Um, and he's coming along in kind of rumpy frumpled fashion. Um, rumpled frumpy fashion. Frumpy rumpled pat, whatever. Uh, kind of coming up and I certainly can be observing him without being yourself observed. Eventually, if left to his own devices, he will locate your gravestone, um, and kind of look about and tap his fingers on the edge of his sleeves and
I'll just walk up and say, "Can I help you?"
hello, Miss. Oh, because he was about to call out. Yes, you're. I'm assuming, Miss Parker. Is that?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. My name is Mr. Wright. I am a. Oh.
And you are hereby served.
I am a.
Have to hand it to me. Can't hand it to me if I don't take it.
I am a
Excuse me.
I am a solicitor under the employ of the. It's not the Quill. Which one is the one that is sort of like the. Which Quill organization would be the one that would most likely have sent a lawyer over to help out Charlotte with a thing? Is that the foundation? Not the
It'll
industry.
be the foundation.
It'll be the foundation.
The foundation is sort of the holding company for everything.
I am a solicitor under the employ of the Quill Foundation. I've been sent over here to see if you need a little bit of assistance. Assistance that you'd be made surprised to learn your cohorts on your meta team are not equipped to handle.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, but please, I walk towards where there's a bench. I'm like, have a seat. Let me know what you were intending.
Well, before I sit down and begin unpacking everything, I'll first ask this question. Do you want to not be dead?
I haven't given it that much thought.
Legally speaking, I'm sorry. I should clarify. I don't have any. I don't have any metaphysical abilities, of course. My abilities are all of the illegal sort. So legally, would you like to not be dead? Because at this point in time, you don't really have any. From the point of view of government, law enforcement, so on and so forth, you don't really exist. And I was given to understand that you may be interested in rectifying that, if at all possible. It will be a bit tricky, a bit time consuming, and it may not be something that you particularly have an interest in. I wanted to make sure that that was the case before we proceeded.
I would need to understand the benefits as well as the risks associated with that.
In that
case, my non-state actually does allow me
certain freedoms.
It also
means that you are not protected from certain, again, legal aspects of the larger situation. Let's sit down and let's discuss that. It's a fascinating subject, very, very interesting, and one I dare say neither I nor my colleagues have had the opportunity to explore in any great depth. You are a unique case. And he sits down and adjusts his glasses and kind of somehow manages to straighten himself up and remain the same amount of rumpled throughout that, and starts unpacking things and explaining all of that stuff as you go. Back at school. Go ahead.
Are you one of the people that helped Summer with her case?
No. I understand that was largely handled through her situation. Her situation was simply that she was applying for new documentation, having never received it. Your situation is somewhat more complicated in that you did actually exist as a citizen of the United States and were declared legally dead. It's a very interesting case, and there are very few precedents, and none of them really match your situation. There have been individuals that have been declared dead when they were not actually dead, and it came to the attention of the courts several years. In fact, in one case, 2 decades later, and the courts really didn't seem to know what to do about it. One of the individuals, the 20 years gentleman that I mentioned, actually was ordered by the courts to remain dead because doing anything else was simply too complicated. I don't know that it was a question of time. You have no heirs. You have no estate to speak of. So the question of reallocating family holdings or anything of that nature, taking it away from inheritors, that sort of thing, which tends to complicate matters where the person was declared deceased somewhat recently, should be of no matter. So there's a possibility it will be as straightforward as your colleagues, the Newmans. Alternately, it could become quite complicated indeed. Generally speaking, right now you don't have any responsibilities, but you also don't have any rights. You certainly can't be deported. That would be ridiculous. He seems to think that's terribly funny.
Charged with treason.
Yes, yeah, as you are no citizen, but you can be, and I shouldn't say you can't be deported. Certainly, the government as a whole and and those who act on its behalf have the capacity to make their displeasure known against you in various ways, shape, and unpleasant forms. And since you have no legal personage, you have no legal recourse. Yeah, you have no legal standing. You have no way of defending yourself against that. No one can say don't do that unless they also use rather crude forms of displeasure. So you have great freedoms, which absolutely no one can help you. Really, that no one can say you have a right to. So if anyone attempts to take them away from you, the only way you can keep them is by force, or with the assistance of others who are willing to engage in such force if those freedoms are taken away. If your identity is established and made more concrete, more material, if you like, you will have your freedoms will be somewhat curtailed as any citizen of the country would be, but they would be defensible and defended by anyone else who shares those same freedoms. Myself, for example, or my colleagues, or anyone. So it's
fascinating. I would like to talk to you about it more. This is fascinating. I'd like to talk to you about it more.
I am glad.
We can switch back to the other folks.
All right. And we can carry on with this. He goes, well, I'm on the clock, so we can talk about it as long as we like. And and he laughs a little bit, and then he kind of pauses. He says, I'm just kidding. I don't want to. I'm happy to talk as long, but I don't want anyone to think I'm misusing company time. I was assigned for this. I'm not misappropriating. I'm not doing anything with my. I've been given free reign to allocate my time as I see fit. I'm not actually trying to bilk your partner, Mr. Quill, out of. He's like, he makes the joke. He's like, oh shit.
Above board.
Yeah. But you can actually see it kind of on his face where he's like, he makes the joke and he's like, oh shit, I'm talking to the boss's friend. Maybe I should. So that goes on for a bit. I like Mike's thing. I'm not misappropriating company time, but I do have several 3-ring binders of documentation I will happily go through. Okay. Back to the school. There's a at any point, at some point during the day, anybody who's coming in new, they have this whole kind of cycle thing set up. You guys have had some time to process, pick up your stuff from Margie. You're still mic'd up.
Sorry.
That's fine. you guys have had time to pick up your stuff from Halcyon South. Um, luckily before the fight, um, and all that sort of thing. There is a little bit of you brought into the counselor's office at some point during the day, and kind of and you'd already been made aware of your curriculum, that sort of thing. Any questions you might have, touch base with the heads of the various departments, especially any who might be interested in talking to you for one reason or another. Certainly the head of the science faculty was interested in just sort of touching base with um, Leo, and when basically she said, I'm not sure of the provenance that has brought you to us, Mr. Snow, but I am, and I didn't know who you were when your name first came across my desk, but then I've been given to understand in the last 24 hours what your connections are, and I look forward to what you might be able to contribute to our discussions in class. I will have you for this first semester at least, so I look forward to that. I hopefully you do as well.
Yeah, I'm all about science.
So I've gathered. We will be doing a applied physics and mechanics section further down, although I believe we'll be carrying on directly from the section that you had on chemistry earlier last semester. So the basics I already kind of covered: language arts, history, science, math, the kind of core things. There's a couple of slots during the day for electives, and I'm curious, for those of you who are moving, actually for everybody, what do your electives look like? What is Adam, for example? What are you in, like, 2 free time slots during the day, not counting, study hall or whatever? What are you doing with the non-core stuff? Because there's literally a laundry list of stuff that you don't normally get at the high school, plus all the stuff that at the previous school, plus other things that you would have been doing. I'm just curious what people are involved in. Anybody?
I think I know.
Bueller?
Adams
Bueller?
would go for.
Say it again about Adam.
Oh, I think I know what Adam would go for.
What's that?
Well, given what his dad's been telling him lately, his dad was probably like, make sure you get yourself a PE class.
And it's part of the, it's one of those mandatory electives. You do need to take a certain amount of stuff there. They have quite
But
a
the type of PE class. That's the choice.
No, I think this would be like probably like above his normal hitting weight for PE classes. Because, I think they make some allowances given he's 12.
Yeah, but I mean, you're big for your age, bigger. I don't know. What do you do? Do you like a track thing, or do you want to like get into some sort of like in this class we it's like a, I don't know, a taekwondo class or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, Aikido,
Yes.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Gardner has it all,
Wrestling.
man. Gardner has a ridiculous funding, so.
Yeah, probably like some taekwondo or something that his dad picked out for him. It'd like, no, with your size, this one.
Yeah.
Everybody else there is like 2 feet taller than me. Trust me.
A
Couple of years, it'll work out fine.
This is your guy. This is your Huckleberry. So a little bit of P. Anything else?
Oh, his mom probably pressured him into taking like some speech class or something like that.
Yes. Oh my God.
looks-
Yes.
It looks amazing on the school transcript.
And at least one of the conversations after you guys are allegedly in bed is like, he needs to learn how to talk in front of people. I mean, he's great, but he's terrible at that. Yes, I know. Fine. Jason, are you suffering from senioritis? Is this your last quarter or last semester?
This, I guess, would be my last semester. Yes.
So what ridiculous? What do you mean you didn't take this? You should have taken this 3 years ago. Thing. Are you taking this semester?
Government.
Home ec. Cooking.
Oh God, yes, probably. Yeah, home ec definitely needs to be in there. Or what's the current term for that, James?
I have no idea.
Culinary arts.
Family and consumer sciences.
What was the first part or before consumer sciences?
And consumer sciences.
Okay.
It's sewing and cooking.
Nice. I love it.
Family
That's
and
perfect.
consumer sciences.
Leo, you have to speak up on this one. I feel like I feel like Area would do that, not because it's a womanly thing, but because it's kind of like all we eat are pizza and chips. And I kind of want to learn how to cook just because I'm tired of eating pizza and chips. Like it's almost
she actually had a conversation. Well, Summer had a conversation with Jason where she said, I'm actually a terrible cook because I can make this stuff, but I don't have any sort of indigestion whatsoever, and so I'll just season the hell out of everything.
Right.
So it's not that she's bad at it. It's just that what she cooks is not going to be good for other people. So she's kind of coming from the other direction. So that's totally appropriate.
Well,
so
I was thinking about Area. I guess did I say Summer? I went to say Area.
They both run between they're the same person anyway. So you know.
They're coming at from different directions, but they're both coming to the same conclusion, which I like. So third period is an elective, and that's your sewing and consumer arts class, Jason. And you walk in, and yes, this is happening. Nono Rodriguez, Summer, Area. And sitting in the back, playing with one of the gas burners, Alicia Chen, and like 4 other kids.
I will have you know that as soon as Principal Fred was done talking, I had my phone back out and was trying to text back, but I assumed that I didn't actually hear anything.
You know, you got a response. Shh, shh, shh. No texting in school. Shh.
Okay, so
that's what you get back. Shh, no texting in school.
The laws of comedy dictate that I immediately pivot on my heels and step back out of the room, and step to the side of the door,
and then have a hyperventilating attack in the hallway.
Breathe, deep breaths, focus, concentrate. Deep breaths.
I thought you were going to say the laws of anime demand that you have a nosebleed immediately, but it's really either one.
Either one works. The great thing about nanobots, they don't stain. So I will then step back in.
Also in the class, Kid Calvin. Looking like he's got to be here, but he doesn't want anybody to think he's not manly, so he's like trying to look super bored and disinterested in the whole thing.
Even though he actually kind of finds it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has to do all the cooking himself at home, and he's kind of tired of Stouffer lasagna.
Class opens. All right, everyone sit down. In order to get the snickering out of the way immediately and to meet the class requirements before we get into the sewing and everything, get into the rest of it, somehow every single semester the health education stuff gets wedged into this class, and we've got a few other things we need to cover, so we're just going to get this out of the way right now and do it the first week. So yeah, the first week of this class is going to be a wedged in mandatory health and sex education, because you're not suffering enough.
Because you haven't melted into the floor yet.
Free sex ed, you don't get taught anything.
I know.
Yes, but it's still embarrassing.
Oh yeah.
The only sex ed I got was to answer the 3 questions on the test the day of the final.
Very nice.
Oh, Doris, I should also mention Leo's probation requires that he get a passing grade and graduate high school. He'll naturally gravitate to the classes where like he could easily just pass through. I don't think the girls will let him do that. So if you want to push him into a class he would have otherwise taken, he'll be found there.
What would the girls think you should be taking as an elective?
If it's not this one, keep going. I just want to let you know that.
I'm trying to think about what that should be. Does Leo play an instrument?
No,
Should he?
that's what I'm asking.
I'm just
Actually, or foreign language.
I mean, I can't think he wouldn't probably pick that up pretty quick. I got to think about
Not
this.
necessarily. Foreign language is a whole different set of cognitive skills than
What?
pretty much anything else.
Give it some thought and keep going.
Yeah, I'll if anybody has any thoughts on that, we're breathing in the mic again. Somebody is.
My only question, Joyce, is does this count as being under extreme stress and or facing danger alone?
I'm not making you roll.
Because my doom may suddenly take me over right here in home ec.
I know that. Yeah,
You wouldn't be the first guy.
Actually, I have to. I mean, just for the sheer, oh my goddess, joy of it, I love the idea of Jason, Leo, Kid Calvin, Summer, Aria, and Alicia Chin all in. So Leo, you walk in and the girls are there, and Jason's out in the hallway. Part of the hyperventilation thing is because your body had such an extreme reaction when you walked in that you started to armor up. So you stepped out real quick before anybody freaked out that your shirt was moving. So
yes,
Jason's
that's the excuse I'm using.
So you're walking down the hallway and you see Jason kind of outside having some kind of panic attack in the hallway.
Do you have class, dude? What's going on?
Interesting enrollment in this class this semester. He kind of motions Leo to take a peek in.
Okay, I see a bunch of familiar faces.
So when you notice Alicia though.
No, I caught that. He's cool about that because like we literally just talked about this, and Leo's gonna be like, "Well, okay, so you just beat me to it."
Oh, you guys, you said we talked about this? Who talked about this?
Jason and Leo talked about getting access to Alicia Chin for the merch.
Oh, so your assumption is that Jason got her here already?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, good job.
I didn't get her here. She's just he just did this, I guess. But she
does a little finger wave thing, like from the because he keeps Jason like poke his head in.
Did you do a finger gun at me?
No, she does a finger wave thing. Actually, she does a finger wave at Leo at some point when he glances in, or starts to. But when you look in, she transfers it to a finger gun thing. The teacher finally is like, "Mr. Quill, are we keeping you from anything?"
No.
Jason, it looks cooler if you could just go in and sit down and be manly, okay? Look, come on.
Yeah, no.
With me.
Right.
Breathe. Walk.
Okay. And meanwhile, Calvin is sort of like, he's trying to like be cool. I shouldn't even have to be here thing. He's like trying to balance that with leering at the girls. It's not working. Really any better. And he kind of puts a lid on that once Leo walks in. Jason, not so much once Leo walks in. Summer, I don't. The girls are trying really hard to play it cool, but at the same time, their interior delight is somewhat palpable. Alicia's
Delight at the boys' embarrassment.
something like that. Oh, Jason, what is Alicia's nom de normal going to be? Nom de mundane. Her last name, her surname. If you don't know, the teacher will address her by Miss whatever, and say
the name she used was Alice Chan. If you're looking for that.
Yeah, it was Alice.
Miss Chan, we're not cooking today. It's gonna be videos all the way down, I'm afraid. I actually had a guy who almost flunked out of the first week, flunked out of the home ec class the first week because for the same reason they decided to shoehorn the sex ed stuff right into the first couple weeks of class. And when the teacher asked what are the causes of male erection, the guy snorted and said small a light breeze, I guess. Really? Whatever. And she was so embarrassed that she almost he spent the rest of the day in the principal's office. Anyway, the 80s. All right. So Harry, what's your elective of choice or elective of horror this semester?
I mean, him out of classes. Like, they put him in culinary one semester, but he kept on making chips.
Once you figure out how, I mean, you just need the deep fat fryer and you're good to go.
The teacher made the mistake of teaching us on the first day of class.
And so, yeah, if you blink for a second, they're just cooking in the back. Nobody knows who loaded it up or anything or even started the thing. By the end of class, the chips are ready.
Class chips?
It's class chips. So you've done culinary arts. You've done your gym. Yeah. Public speaking?
Nah.
I think you need to find something that A10 would be in an embarrassing.
Or I was thinking actually telekinesion, but A10 would be fine. A10 would be fine.
I think it should be something, along the lines of, literature or poetry.
Poetry.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, a slightly different thing is not so much like what's your elective, but which class do you share with A10? Oh, let it be poetry.
Yeah, poetry.
We're gonna begin the semester with the romance poets. My daughter from the next room over goes, "Oh Lord."
Shakespearean sonnets.
We're gonna begin with Shakespearean sonnets. Yeah. So that'll all the logo there. Other highlights of the day. Let me think about this. Trace comes over at lunchtime, Leo. And he's just kind of comes up. He's like, "Hey, so I mean, it's cool that you kind of did the thing yesterday with the mask and all. Kind of stole the thunder of. I feel a little bit less special, but not totally because of the other thing. But hey, listen, that's not really what I'm here to talk about. Are you going to sign up for any after school stuff? I mean, I know we kind of got our own extra after school thing, but oh God, I hate recruiting.
Well, what do you have in mind?
He's so I thought about this. This is sad, but this is what burned up brain cycles for me. I was trying to decide between lacrosse, field hockey, and soccer.
Not put Leo in any kind of hockey game.
Why is that?
He will destroy them.
Well, yeah, but you're legal. Like, unlike Harry, you don't have physical superpowers. So you're technically legal for...
No, it's not that. He's going to lose his temper is what's going to happen.
Oh, I see. But that's so good, though. Because I was thinking field hockey. Is that the one with the little like sort of slightly curved sticks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or lacrosse. What are we thinking? I mean, how posh is Gardner? Would they just go for straight up soccer, or would they go for like lacrosse or field hockey?
It'd be lacrosse.
You
Yeah.
think like lacrosse?
Especially East Coast.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like, I'm one of the two captains for the lacrosse team, and we need some people, and you're kind of probably really good at that stuff, and we kind of want to get you in there and at least have you try it or something.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Cool. Sweet. All right. After school, if you got any kind of time, it's just like a couple hours and then you're done.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Really, God, that was way easier than I had this whole spiel planned. How's everything?
Everything is crazy.
Yeah, I saw the thing yesterday. Like I watched it afterwards. I didn't watch it live or anything, but I watched some of it. That was kind of crazy. What are you guys gonna do with the talking to the Dread Queen thing? Like,
We're probably going to talk to the Dread Queen.
okay, that's ballsy. All right, cool, man. All right, I'll see you after. I'll see you after class. I gotta get going.
Cool, I'll be there.
All right. Other stuff. Jason, you get a text during your during your lunch hour, when of course Barbara assumes is the only time you actually have your phone active,
Right.
that says Rook wants to have a meeting.
Okay.
And if there's like 4 minutes go by with no reply, she'll add with you.
With me and not the board.
Yes. To be fair, you're not meeting with their board either, apparently.
True.
We can have people there if you want.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Schedule.
They've proposed a they've proposed a location. Time is left up to us. It weirdly reminds you of the rules around like being summoned to a duel.
Prisoner exchanges, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've chosen the location, so you get to choose the weapon or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's the location?
The address is that apartment block that you guys have been trying to buy since the thing with Viratovia. That's over by the cemetery.
Oh, Hector.
That's been kind of, you keep getting, the purchase keeps getting blocked by various channels or in various channels. And apparently they want to meet with you at that address. Okay.
Well, if she wants to meet with me at that address, set up a time for sometime after school, I guess. If it's like Rook is going to be there with others, then I want, legal and business representation with me. So
we can meet over there. We can meet you there at 4:30. They said sooner would be better. They seem eager to talk.
Sure.
During lunch, do you seek out anybody, have a chat, anything like that?
Yeah. Who do I seek out? I'd really have to seek out Charlotte, but she doesn't go here.
You could call her, I guess.
I could actually call her. I'm going to seek. I'm gonna seek out Leah.
Okay. All right. You don't just you don't catch sight of Alicia around during the lunch or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye open for her.
Yeah, and you don't actually see her, but you seek out Leo. All right, I'll wait on just a second for that.
Okay.
Harry and Adam, are you guys still sort of maintaining the giving you tours between classes kind of thing, or what's going on there?
I find him
He's not
between classes.
he's not hard to find. He's shorter than everybody else. People it wouldn't
And
look
also,
people it wouldn't look weird for Adam to interact with would be pretty much anyone from Halcyon High South. And they do tend to cluster together a little bit. So like, those like Taz would you'd see her and she'd, chin nod during lunch or whatever if you were inclined. That sort of thing. You could obviously, you already were around Leo over at Halcyon Ice House, so that wouldn't raise anything. And of course, Harry's conveniently there and stuff. So, Adam, you were going to say something, I think, too.
yeah, Adam. Knowing Adam and all of his stuff, he would probably just search out Harry whenever he gets a chance, just so that he doesn't have to talk to anyone else right now.
Okay, so you are you guys hanging out, having lunch, all that kind of good stuff? Because while you're doing that, Carrie, Super Chica, comes over to Harry and sits down and says, "Hi, Harry. How are you? Are you having a good lunch? Why don't you introduce me to your friend whom I've never met?"
Well, we're all just bad at this.
She's actually trying to be bad at this. She's like Abuela on the airplane, like bad at this.
Yeah, this is Adam. He's one of the kids from,
One of the newbies.
was it Mill?
Halcyon High South. They're from South. It's just everyone just gives it directions and stuff like that. Adam, huh? You're kind of small, short. Sorry. How are you here? Tell me everything about you.
Well, I'm short, and I'm not from around here, and
Come on, you gotta do better than that. Why are you short? Tell me more.
I'm 12.
That is fascinating. I would like to learn more and become one of your best friends. She's just terrible at this.
Okay.
All right. There we go. Our cover has been established. She doesn't say that out loud. She like writes it on her napkin and then slides
That's just
it.
like a quick text message.
No,
Our
she,
cover is
no,
established.
she writes it onto a napkin, slides it out into the middle, okay, where the two of you can see it, looks at you very seriously, nods knowingly, and then shoves it into her mouth.
Adam will nod back knowingly as well.
Yes, everybody's very, very
Very
serious about this.
jerkingly.
Yeah, everyone's being very serious about this as this is occurring. Jason, are you? Wait, you were going to, I thought you were going to call Charlotte, but you're not going to call Charlotte. What are you going over to talk to Leo about, or what do you do?
Well, I'm going to give him a heads up that Rook is interested in that apartment block that got hit by the
Bomb? Question mark?
dimension busting bomb thing the Viertovians had.
Oh yeah. Well, they can fuck directly off.
Yeah, I was kind of going to try to convey that message, hopefully in a way that didn't devolve into a full-fledged war. But I'm going to be going and talking to the head lady herself after school today. I just wanted to let someone else know in case I don't reappear or something.
Do you need backup?
I think I can probably take her 2 throws out of 3. And anything that's more business professional related, I will have people there that can help me with. But
Well, Otto's not going to school right now. Take him with you. You guys never let him know.
Well, it'd be after school, but yeah, technically Leo will be at
lacrosse.
Yes, I want.
They wanted to put a stick in my hand and send me out with a bunch of other adrenaline charged boys, and none of this is going to end well. Okay.
Oh no, this is far worse. Yeah.
I'd be happy to back you up, but apparently I'm going to lacrosse practice after school, and I'm just trying to imagine Jason's utterly blank. I don't know what to do with this information kind of look.
Okay.
Correct response is always, "How nice for you."
If you don't mind Otto being in closer proximity to the Rook lady than he normally would be, I am happy to catch a ride from him.
He would love to take a shot at her. Okay?
Fair enough.
So
Don't give him a reason. I'm just saying.
And it's
okay.
It's from a legal standpoint, it's much hairier for Rook now than it was previously because the Newmans are people legally now.
That's true.
Before at the airport, the whole thing, it was like
Yeah, and by the way, his paperwork is in the glove compartment. If you could just bring and Ari and Summer get copies of theirs. I'm sure we have a Xerox machine there, and I'm sure she'd love to see this. But just in case, blank out like the actual driver's license numbers or the social security numbers with the specifics, so that she can't do some kind of like identity theft bullshit or not.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Certainly a good thing to. I somewhere in the back of my head I had thought that you guys were going to fax that over to her as soon as the paperwork was done anyway, just to say.
We were, but I like the personal delivery option.
Nice, I like that. The only other thing kind of going on during the course of I'm going to loop back to Charlotte here real quick, is during your second electives, there's before the PA before that period comes up, the PA sort of announces like the second elective has been dropped to kind of adjust the schedule for today. All of you should have gotten a message from the school registrar as to classrooms to meet in for a short, they don't call it study hall, SSR.
Oh, they're going to do a tribe session.
Kind of a thing, just, to kind of a breakout session, study, catch up, that kind of thing. What's that? What do they call it?
That was no to my mom.
Oh. I don't know what that is, and I hope I never do. But you guys all everybody in the school gets like a text message basically saying report to room blah 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 or whatever. You're not particularly surprised to see that when you walk into the room that you're in, that you're sent to, it's basically the team. With Agent Waters and this other older woman, not older than Agent Waters, but adult.
That's not possible anyway.
What's that?
That's not possible anyway.
Yeah. Nice. And I will, for those of you who haven't seen, I will grab them real quick. Where in the heck did I put her? Agent Parker? Agent Parker. There we go. Get her on here. And everyone knows what Agent Waters looks like, but there's the woman. And also Alicia sitting here. She's managed to make the Gardner uniform look like a sardonic commentary on capitalism inside of about 4 hours of being at school. So good on her for that. So Agent Waters and this person who there, and you guys filing in, Alicia's there. Harry and Concord, Alicia's there. Commentary, thoughts, reactions, complete lack of same. I don't know.
I know what my first words are going to be to her, but yeah.
Have your gun for some time.
Sorry, what did you say?
Guns that you gave me.
Oh, yeah, probably not right now. I heard there's rules about that here.
You know.
Uh,
No.
Adam's immediate reaction is, I think I am in the wrong place.
no, you're absolutely in the right place. Mr. Amari, please have a seat. Thank you all for, well, I guess you weren't really invited, but come on in, sit down. We're just going to use this time to do a quick briefing, and kind of catch everyone else up and let you know what's currently in the works and get the thoughts on this from the group. Now, my understanding is this is Mr. This is Agent Waters. Everyone sat down. Now, first of all, Miss Chin here is here on the lookout of Aegis. Social Agent Parker here is her handler. She has surrendered herself to the agency in exchange for providing, well, certain agreements that she's making with regards to her father's holdings and helping those organizations be brought to justice. And as a result, there's some other agreements that we are working on here. As part of that, Ms. Chen has shown an interest in, how should I put that? How would he put this? Turning over a new leaf. And we thought
Jason will kind of look over at her.
The current and you and the menagerie happens to be the hero organization that has peers in her age range that are that happen to be most active here in Halcyon. That we seem to with whom you have some previous interaction, and we are supposed to come here. We thought it would be best to kind of meet with the team as much as we could possibly, and see where everyone is. Obviously, no decisions need to be made today or anything of that nature, but she will be attending Gardner as part of her probation. She will be here, and we wanted to kind of put that out there. Now, Alicia, for her own part, is, kind of, had that sort of sardonic smirk thing. But while this part of the conversation is going, she actually looks nervous or uncomfortable or uneasy. Maybe all of those things. We wanted to get everybody in here. My understanding is, says Agent Waters, that Leo is currently nominally in charge of field operations and that sort of thing as far as the team goes, but there are two reasons that we wanted to get everybody in here, and while we are officially presenting this to Mr. Quill, and that is, it's his name on the sheet that we have on file, and the other one is we can't technically engage in an agreement with Leo, with Mr. Snow, because he is also an Aegis asset in that he is being administered by myself. And as much as we, as the public would like to believe otherwise, we try not to just set up arrangements where we just make an agreement with ourselves and shake our own hands. So
Leo's got to put his hand up at this point.
Yep, I figured that was going to happen. Go ahead.
I'd like to talk to Miss Chen privately for a second.
How privately? Do we all have to leave, or do you just want to?
We'll walk to the corner and just please try to turn off your listening devices.
We'll talk quietly. We'll walk over in the other. Actually, you know what he does? Shit. Would he do this around Parker though?
I demand the cone of silence.
He's got a way to make sure that the stuff isn't overheard, but I don't think he would do it around Parker. Because
he probably wouldn't.
Yeah. He would do it in front of her.
He wouldn't do it in front of
He
her.
would not play with his tie in front of Parker.
No, the tie isn't the thing. The tie is kind of a known deal.
The
The fidget spinner is a
fidget spinner.
Yeah. Waters has a rep for being on the record all the time, and he's established this rep so that when he goes off the record, nobody would expect it, because he's super anal about it whenever anybody's paying attention. And Parker really raised their eyebrow, but he's just kind of, come on, and he kind of goes down to the other end, and they have a conversation. Mr. Quilk, would you come over here? We need to have a few, just double check a few things here just before we get into the discussion. And
I'd be happy to assist and let Leo and Alicia have their conversation.
And Waters then goes over the official stance that Aegis has taken with regards to the Virotopia thing, not with regards to what you guys should do, but just with regards to what officially happened, what the official story is on what happened with Virotopia appearing over the city a couple days ago, all that kind of stuff. And just like, none of it's any surprise. You know all of this. You've already had this communicated to the team through channels and stuff. It's just a conversation that the three of you are having.
I'm sorry. So what is the official stance again?
Virotopia was in was the second time that they were in Halcyon airspace, and thus U.S. airspace, in the last several weeks. Another act of hostility. It doesn't ever specifically say what they were here for, but they engaged in, they were engaged with by troops acting in the defense of the city, namely Menagerie, the JHHL. The Menagerie isn't named first in that particular thing. The regulators, security forces from Rook Industries, through a subsidiary, et cetera, and so forth. Fought them off, kept them out of the city, and denied them whatever assets they were here. They actually, the official statement professes ignorance as to what they were actually there for. All that kind of thing. So it doesn't, there's a bunch of other stuff about whether or not it was a coordinated thing having to do with the, possibly related to the attack the fight that also happened over on Virotopia with the HHL. But that's kind of outside of the purview of that thing. And it's just him kind of going over that, answering any questions you might have about that as that's going on. But really the gist of it is to have this conversation going on. Parker doesn't say anything during this point in time, other than seeming to rather chillingly size you up. Or coldly, I should say. Probably not chillingly.
I will throw her a few glances during the course of this, but
right.
Finally sort of.
She's really more watching what's happening on the other end of the room, and doesn't look super happy with Waters right now. What is happening on the other end of the room, Leo?
Leo's got one question for Alicia. Do you know who I am?
Oh boy, that's a hell of a good question. I have to think about this because I have not thought about this. So give me just a minute.
Some of Dave's vignette fiction explicitly says yes, and she knows.
I have assumed yes, although not necessarily tremendous.
She knows he's Leo Snow. She knows he's Link. She knows he makes bots. I don't know what Rossum and Chin's. I mean, I'm sure that
overlap.
Yeah, I don't know what their overlap would have been.
Well, I think it's been established that Chin made use of Rossum on occasion for some specific technological tasks.
Yeah. The difference here between those two men is that Chin really involved Alicia in stuff, and that was not the approach that Rossum took with Leo. I mean, first of all, he didn't have long-term access to him. I mean, and when he did, it was really more. I'm going to categorize it as brainwashing and conditioning stuff that he was totally off the, he was out of like out of the public eye. He wasn't like randomly interacting with people and stuff like that. So Rossum would never really have broadcast this kid's existence because he was really, I mean, this oversimplifies it, but he was really kind of doing the Slade and Robin conditioning, or the Terra and Slade conditioning, and kind of keeping him out of. He wasn't putting him in the public eye more than anything else. He wouldn't have had him around other people. So I'm not sure that the existence of Rossum's kid would really have been in any way public knowledge. I mean, if she were told he's a supervillain's kid, then yeah, she'd probably be able to do the math on that in pretty short order. Or at least Rossum would be in the top 3 or top 2 picks for who it was likely to be, based on physical appearance, based on ethnicity, based on actual power set, stuff like that, and knack and stuff like that. But I'm not sure that. I mean, given what Bill's written about the way Rossum interacted with Link or interacted with Leo, I'm not sure that. I think he played him really close to the vest. Partly because it was his kid, and partly because Leo was going to be sort of the key to Rossum really breaking a new level of technology wide open, and he was keeping that really close to the vest. I mean, what do you think about that, Bill? Is that?
I'm okay with that, both in the interest of time and having it develop a little more. That she doesn't know everything, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she goes, "What I know is you just came out yesterday, and that you have a knack for mechanics and bots and AI, and that you've got some background not totally dissimilar from me, or Aegis wouldn't have assigned you a handler."
That guy there, Waters, is my Parker, if I understand this correctly.
Yeah, I think. I mean, just based on body language, I don't think his relationship with you is the same as her relationship with me. At least I hope not, for your sake, because no.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're. Yeah, I mean, that's what she, and she's really straightforward about it. I know what your abilities are, and I know that you're getting handled by Aegis, so something must be up there, but she hasn't put any
math behind.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Things are probably going to be rough with you. People are going to be suspicious. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
I need one thing. I need access to your brain so I can help my friend restore his memories. And I understand you have a similar problem, and you will get the same consideration and the same procedure if you want. We're going to fix all this. If you go along with this, if you help me help my friend, you've got my support.
That was you? Oh. Yeah, I already told him yes, so yeah. Sure, yes.
Cool.
You're not gonna. I mean, I don't have to like know everything about him, do I? Like everything he did, like all the time. We get to keep our private parts private. Take that however you want to read it. I just killed Dave again.
Sorry.
I mean,
I'm not going to witness any of these memories, and whatever the machine does is going to be whatever your brains need to restore equilibrium and health. So I do not guarantee any sort of privacy. What I do guarantee is stability.
it's going to focus on the damage parts, though. I don't need to know every instance of happy, fun time that he's ever had in his life. Okay.
Really, I don't either. Nobody does. Okay, we're on board with that.
Yeah, there are so many pages that we're on the same page of right now. Yeah. That's as soon as I can get out from underneath. I wish I had done enough historical reading today to come up with a really good nickname that she'd have for Parker, but something. Yeah, as soon as I get out from underneath her, I mean, I'm assuming you don't want them to know, because that would probably give them both aneurysms, and as amusing as that would be.
I think they already know. I don't care. This is really about you and Jason.
Yeah, I'm down with it.
Okay, Leo's going to turn back and see if he can get Jason's eye and give him thumbs up. And then that's what he wanted.
All right. All right, so you guys don't have a lot of time in here, Harry and Concord. Like this is all just kind of like, what are you guys doing while there's like one group talking over here, another group talking over here? What are you guys doing?
Why did we get called in this one?
Adams, what?
Why did we get called into this one?
What did?
I guess Alicia.
Yeah, Alicia. Just to put you guys up on that.
So if once Jason sees Leo give him the thumbs up, he'll kind of bring to a close or interrupt the conversation they're in to say,
yeah, Waters is already kind of like, well, we'll send the summary documents over to you, ignoring the fact that the summary documents have probably already been sent through several channels. But... all right.
So I appreciate the paperwork and the channels that you guys need to go through, but all I can do, all I feel right in doing is voting for myself, and really this is to my mind up to the team as a whole if they're gonna let Alicia be a member of it.
And it's
I vote yes.
And that's great. And Parker is quick to say, well, we're still early days on this, Mr. Quill. It's good to know where you stand at the very least. We have the support of Aegis. We have the support of some members of the congressional boards that need to be apprised of this privately, or under the certain top secret. She will be brought on anonymously, obviously. We're not going to advertise, bring on the daughter of Achilles' Chin to one of the most well-recognized young teams of heroes that News currently have. But we hope to have something concrete to offer and propose in a few short days. So we wanted to make sure that while we had you all, most of you all together in one building, we could at least make you all aware of what we were thinking and what we were going to propose so that you would be ready for it when the time came. And also let you understand that she didn't break out and isn't currently stalking you through the halls of the school, that this is all part of the arrangement. And
That's
Alicia puts her hand against her chest like, moi? Stalking? The nerve, kind of thing. And that was really all we had at this time, unless any of you had any questions. And she's watching everybody because it's an open question as to whether she would find it more suspicious if you did or didn't have questions at this point. Who knows what she's actually looking for? Waters is staying well out of it. He does raise a bushy eyebrow in the direction of Leo at the thumbs up thing, like what's that about?
I give 10 thumbs up too.
What's that? Oh, that does not help. That does not help. That in no way, shape, or form assuages his concern about any of this.
That merely raises further questions.
Exactly.
Well, then we will get back in touch with you and let you know.
Okay. That was Alicia. That's okay. She's trying not to be too sarcastic because she doesn't want to make anybody like mad and say no out of like, at least not yet.
I was actually saying that to Parker, not to her.
Oh, yeah, but like Alicia's not going to step into a conversation she wasn't entirely invited to.
And by the way, we might need her sooner than that just for a thing that we're doing, okay?
Yeah, I mean, is she on, curfew or something?
You need 5 people for a basketball game? I don't.
It's 3-on-3 with a half court, okay?
Oh yeah, I forgot about the girls. Yeah, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. We can arrange for some visitation arrangements. We can set up some visitation arrangements if that's necessary, or desired by the team.
Maybe a reception at the Quill residence this evening where we can meet and mingle and talk amongst ourselves.
Yeah, just like chips, pizza, and like a good supply of dexmedetomidine.
Yeah, like that.
And Parker's giving like she's looking at Waters like, I am going to have so many questions for you as soon as we're out of here. But Waters is like, not the funniest thing you've ever said, but we'll let you know. We'll let you know. By come dinner time. We'll see what we can do. I don't know whether that's going to be signed off on immediately or if it's going to give somebody an aneurysm, so we'll check. And
Well,
it's funny that
do
he's using
what
the
you
same
can.
place.
I mean, we like to have a chance to talk about it and to talk about it. So, and you guys are the ones that want a decision made as quickly as possible. So, here's us being helpful.
Okay. We're gonna. Well, we have to take Alicia and meet with the school counselor and the rest of and some of the senior faculty real briefly to discuss certain considerations that need to be made. You guys have a few more minutes. Please stay in here until the period elapses here to before you move on.
But we have a strict supervision rule here at school. There has to be an adult in the classroom.
Seriously? Is that a thing? I know
You,
that's
you haven't been you haven't been watching AP Bio, have you?
No, I haven't. What's AP Bio?
It's actually, I think, the only sitcom that we're currently watching. It just started.
I might have to, just to get myself some more in classroom things. No, I mean, the only time I run into that kind of thing is with the first graders, because I know they have they lose their bloody mind if a kid walks out of the class without supervision, because there's like one kid who's not supervised, and if they go after the kid, then there's 24 kids that aren't supervised, so you have to call the parents and have them take the kid home. Like, seriously?
My math teacher walks out of class all the time.
Everybody needs to be
Yes, well.
supervised. You guys are left to your own devices. Do you catch does anybody catch anybody else up on anything while you're just sitting there in there by yourselves for a time? Because it's Leo and Summer and Area and Concord and everybody except for Charlotte, which I'm going to get back to in just a second here.
I'm honestly a little bit suspicious of what listening devices may have been left behind at this point. Not that the room wasn't full of Aegis agents or something.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll let you guys know what I hear about get together over at my place this evening, and we can talk then in private. Wink, wink.
Do you mention the Rook thing to them or no?
Oh yeah, I guess yeah. And before that, just to let Leo know, but yeah. What's her name? Rook. Whose first name I'm always forgetting. Rosa. Thank you. I should be able to remember that. Rosa Rook wants to meet with me about that apartment building that Harry managed to toss the Virtovian bomb into.
Over. It was over. It wasn't into.
Or over. It was over.
Near.
When it went off. Yeah. Anyway, about that particular property, which the Quill Foundation has been unable to obtain so far. So if I disappear mysteriously, you know where to go looking.
You're gonna do that tonight. Wait a minute.
Well, I mean, this could be like after school, so there should be enough time for me to meet with her, and then for us to get together this evening. I mean,
okay, well, we're gonna do the thing. Do not let this go for too long.
No, definitely not. I definitely have some priorities in mind here. But I was quite serious, guys, in saying that, you know, we all need to sign off on bringing an additional member in, especially Alicia, who, you know, I may not be the most objective judge regarding.
You think?
I
Well,
know.
And you know what? It should be her choice too.
I hear a ghostly voice saying that, but yes, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Well, let's talk about this when everybody's around, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give Charlotte a buzz to let her know what may be up.
Okay. And we'll cut to Charlotte while she's getting those buzzes. You have spent you spent some time on the bench until you noticed that Mr. Wright was Mr. Wright was showing some discomfort of being on the kind of the cold stone bench for a particularly long time. If you were still continuing the conversation, would have migrated from there to a nearby coffee shop, one that you frequent probably, and they're happy to see you. How did that afternoon go, Charlotte? What was the what did you end up? What kind of progress did you make on that, or thoughts did you have on that, or anything?
Well, it certainly was a fascinating discussion. You know,
Yeah.
I hadn't really given thought to the legal ramifications of my existence or non-existence.
Mostly, as near as you can tell, what happened is Jason said, "Hey, this seems like it might be kind of complicated. Why don't you stick a lawyer on it and see if there's anything we can do or should do about it?" And it was basically like throwing like a treat-filled Kong into a pack of like hungry puppies with the legal department because they were just like, "Oh my God, this is fascinating!" And this guy apparently drew the long straw or something and got to be the handler for it.
Someone's going to get a paper published out of this.
Yes, exactly. Actually, and probably several, because it is, just really fascinating stuff. So he actually finds it very, very interesting. But the upshot is that, I mean, not to put it in his terminology, is the way you are right now, you're a bit of a free agent. You're not a citizen of the United States. Your attitude towards the Congress stuff is actually, it's like, okay, yeah, it's treason if you're a citizen. I'm not a citizen, so I can do whatever the hell I want. Is true. But if, you know, to take a random example, if Rosa Rook decided to buy up the cemetery, move all the bodies, and crush all the tombstones down to powder, she could absolutely do that, and you couldn't do anything about it. Other people might be able to, but you don't exist. So you can't, legally speaking, so you can't be somebody holding suit against it or saying, I mean, Aegis has been kind of treating the cemetery as your home address for the purposes of dealing with that whole, like, how are we going to cordon this off and who are we beholden to for that kind of stuff with regards to, like the area that Viratovia was active and so forth. And they've listened to you guys about the damage to the dimensional barriers and stuff like that. But that's Aegis and Aegis deciding to do that. And if you decide not to, you're kind of just out of luck. So like you said, you've got lots of freedoms, and unless you're able to hold them yourself, you don't have anybody on your side. There's no way to, if you had to go into court today, you almost couldn't. Like it would be just people versus whatever, because you can't represent yourself or be
Right.
represented.
Like nobody that Ghostbusters ever captured got a defense attorney.
Yeah, exactly. And
They were sent to a dark site in the basement of a fire station.
Yeah, and the most of the complication that makes it slightly different than say Numa, and you might, I mean, depending on how things go, you might be able to. I mean, it's not as simple as uh, uh, Summer or Area or Otto, because I mean, it's hard to prove you exist, like actually physically exist, unlike them. And they didn't previously exist and then sort of get removed from the scenario. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you were a person and now you're not a person anymore, and you are asserting that you are that same person. So they have to undead you, um, which is got all kinds of complications with it. That comes with just the fact that the records weren't that great back then. You were never you were just sort of assumed dead. You were never like sort of there were never any important like as near as anybody can tell there were never, and you've never been able to find any either. There's never any official record of your death, which isn't at
Interesting.
well, it's not at all. It's not super surprising given the era, and the
Well,
place.
and the amount of records that have gotten destroyed during that time.
Given, yeah, exactly. Lots of courthouses burned at that point. So the fact that records might have been lost is not really remotely surprising. So it's complicated, and some of it is a question of we can start proceedings, and it could take ages. We could go quickly. It may not. It probably won't. Or we can leave it be. And even if we don't leave it be, it's still going to be a while before it's really settled. Uh, there's also a possibility that by starting proceedings, we will attract attention to your situation that you might not want attention attracted to. People who
That's what I was gonna say. Is like how much can we do before we actually have to?
we can work on behalf of a Jane Doe for quite some time. It depends on the degree to which we're being monitored by bad actors, which I was given to understand may be the case, and how much they actually care about this. I doubt very much if somebody intended you, you know, you know, some sort of stress on this, that it wouldn't have occurred to them to have already approached this, but it may be that they want to, they may decide to block such things through channels if it becomes obvious that you are pursuing it. It may be a matter of they don't care about that thing until they learn that somebody else wants it.
Right.
From a strictly legal point of view, where we can proceed anonymously for a considerable amount of time before we have to put a name to the paperwork, a specific name to the paperwork, because we need to
Okay, I
establish
think
legal
that's
precedent.
yeah. I think that's the best course of action is to, do all of the due diligence before we even get started on any sort of filing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I will be
And I have some information on family history that may or may not become pertinent.
I will.
As we
he will
move through
eagerly
this.
he will eagerly accept any of that. And while you're sort of kind of tailing off into that, and he's sort of checking various things, you get a call from. Is it a call or a text from Jason? I'm asking Jason.
Dave, I can't hear you.
I will make it a call.
All
look, no, I'm not muted.
Okay, so you can make a call. And what do you tell Charlotte or catch up on?
Hey, Charlotte. Two things. One, we're going to be getting together over the foundation tonight to talk about adding a new member, and I need your input on that as a current member to the group. Also, I'm going to be meeting with Rosa Rook later after school about that apartment block where there was the, kind of maybe semi-penetration in the
Reality
dimensional
bomb.
membrane thingy.
Oh my God! Just say reality bomb. Every single word that you picked was icky. That you just semi-penetration in the dimensional membrane. Seriously?
Membrane thingy.
Membrane thingy.
The reality bomb thing place.
If Alicia could hear that conversation, she'd be like, I can't decide if I'm more or less disturbed by the idea that that's a Freudian slip or that it isn't. Anyway.
So.
And that's actually in your neighborhood, Charlotte, so you may be interested.
Yeah, I mean, do you want me to be nearby?
I think I can probably handle it, but if you want to be in the area,
I'll be
you know,
there for you.
in case they throw
He just leaves
a
it at
sack
that.
over my head and try to drag me away.
I mean, she practically is in the area, so.
Okay.
I was gonna
That's
say
true.
that,
It is just a few blocks. You know,
Yeah.
it's a number of blocks away, but it was the origin of the row was there.
and,
really-
and the reality is I haven't actually had time to explore that as much as I.
Yeah.
So.
What little poking around you've done is that it's just smaller, but pretty much the same as the one that's in the cemetery. Okay, so after school we've established going with Leo. Harry, are you doing an after school drop-in at the hospital? Or what's that look like?
Yeah, probably.
I still owe you something from your family for the whole, like, they approve of how things have been going and what you've been doing kind of thing. And I'm coming up snake eyes on that. I'm not sure what that is. So I need to whether you brainstorm about it or we all do or something like that, I need to figure out what that is. But how has Harry been with regards to this? Have you been dutiful son and showing up every day like clockwork and spending a certain amount of time and checking in with family members and all that kind of stuff? Or has it been like super uncomfortable to be around dad, so you kind of make excuses, or you're always kind of out in the waiting room but never actually in the room kind of thing? What's it like? What do you do with that?
There's probably I visit when I can.
Is your mom ever around the house, or is she kind of always at the hospital, or what's that like? Are you banging around the house by yourself a lot of the time, or?
She's not home much, just at the hospital or dealing with the aftermath of, there was a big fight, PR or other HHL work.
Yeah. Yeah, there have been other HHL members who've come by. There's more than a few of them who are kind of Nautilus got messed up. He's okay, but his armor was not in good shape. Your dad was obviously, caught the worst of it. Paladin's apparently he's not around, but and nobody's really talking about that either. You don't think he's like gone, but also people really aren't talking about it. But yeah, the HHL has been real quiet since that, and there's some speculation about that, but everybody's just the narrative keeps getting brought back around to heroic sacrifice from Silverstreak and what his current status is in the hospital, and nobody's really talking about whatever the politics are surrounding the actual league, that kind of thing. After school, after school, Adam, you've got probably about 2 or 3 hours to kill before to get back over to the Quill compound. What do you do? Just go back home, play it like normal.
I think so. Right now, Adam is probably going to be super nervous about anyone being around Rosa Rook by themselves, since the last time that happened, they kidnapped one of his friends.
So are you going to head home, or are you going to kind of shadow that situation?
Jason, if Adam was like, hey, do you need backup for Rosa?
Everybody keeps asking you if I need backup for Rosa. It's not a confidence builder. Well, I mean, if you want to come and hang, I mean, I'm going to be going over there in Otto. Probably there won't be an opportunity to like sit in on the meeting or something. But if you want to hang with Otto,
In the car,
you know, and keep each other out of trouble or something, and then be there if the rook bots suddenly invade the site. That'd be cool.
I just imagine the horror of Concord and Otto both showing up in Rosa's office.
No, this isn't at the office though. It's at this one location.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, I
But
know.
yeah,
It's over
no.
at this. Okay.
No.
So
Adam will certainly keep an eye on Otto to make sure none of the Rook people do anything.
I would die to know what that conversation is going to be like, but we're on a bit of a time constraint, so I'm going to keep moving things forward. So the building is basically an apartment complex, except the first floor is like a bunch of small shops. Like there's a deli and sort of like a convenience store and a couple other things that are just sort of serving this 26-story little like apartment high rise kind of thing. And there's like those, oh god, there's one that's over there by Park Meadows where there's like it's like business offices for rent kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
And one of the conference rooms there
is being rented this evening.
Yeah, is being rented. But there's a couple of Rook guys with like the Rook badge that are standing outside the building and probably about, I want to say 10, 15 yards away from the front of the building, and waiting as you pull up. And one of them puts his finger up to his ear, Mike, as you pull up, and then you get out, and they both kind of, they don't quite come to attention, but they come to sort of a standing parade rest kind of thing as you're walking up, and they say, Mr. Quill. One of them holds out his hand, and he's got a couple of dice in it. And these are for you, sir.
For me?
Yes, please. I'm just following orders, sir.
Okay, I'll hold out my hand and let him put the dice in them.
Do you need to check them at all? Anything that you want to verify their legitimacy? There's not a pair, it's 3, I should say.
3 dice.
Yes.
3d6?
Yes, 3d6.
Okay.
There's a no, yeah, I should say. There's a like sort of like a little stone bench right there, like a little cement bench. Would you mind rolling those several times, sir, just to verify, if you don't want to test them specifically, just to verify that they're performing as, again, sir, I'm just following instructions.
So I am going so I will go ahead and can I heft these with extend the nanobots out and heft them and kind of roll them around to verify that they're weighted properly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's really,
I will absolutely do that.
All right.
And I will stand there with my hands, I will put them in the nanobots, stand there with my hands on my hips, and let the nanobots do this thing, kind of looking at the security guard while I do this. Do they
Yeah, they don't well, they've got the mirror shades on, so they're not really they're covering up some of their expression, but they seem ready for this. And you roll them a couple times and they're coming up, they're random distribution. They seem to be perfectly weighted. They're Vegas dice. I mean, they're the sharp edge kind of Vegas dice kind of thing, and they're rolling perfectly normally.
They appear to be proper dice.
Yep. They're yours for the duration of the rest of this meeting. We'd like to show you into where we have a conference room. And Barbara's your representative is already inside, as I understand it, as well as legal counsel and so forth.
Wonderful. Thank
this
you.
way. And so they
I give a wave back to Otto and Adam. Thumbs up.
the lights flash. They don't really pay too much to the car. So they go in there. One of them says, coming in, and they go in there, and there's a conference room. And it's just there's a couple of lawyer types, a couple of corporate types. Rosa Rook's at one end of the table, or one side of the table. She's not one end. She's on one side of the table. And stands up. Actually, she doesn't. She extends her hand when you come in. Mr. Quill.
Ms. Rooks.
Yeah.
I won't shake hands.
Of course not. She probably wouldn't have offered, knowing that you probably wouldn't have, because you guys have, history. Would you like a seat?
Thank you.
This won't take long. Barbara's there. I don't know. Would anybody else be there? Probably one of your attack dog lawyers.
Sure.
Surprising. Certainly won't surprise you to know that Rook Industries has an interest in this property. It certainly didn't surprise us to know that Quill Industries, or the foundation, had an interest in this property. And I think we both know the provenance of that desire, previous events and that sort. And we're getting nowhere on it. Your lawyers are very well versed in the things that they need to do to forestall any acquisition on the part of our companies and our subsidiaries. And certainly I wouldn't be hiring or paying any of my people if they weren't able to do likewise. So we're a bit of a stalemate. And this building is going on in its merry way, without any of the development or care that either one of us would prefer. So I am proposing, Mr. Quill, I would like to propose a partnership so that we can get together and build a hospital on this location, or rather convert the building to a hospital.
That sounds like potentially an extraordinarily bad idea.
I can understand why you would think that. And in order to explain why we're thinking about this as a particular potential use for this property, I'd like you to roll those dice that you have already examined and determined that are completely on the up and up.
I look over at Barbara. Does she have any?
She shrugs like, like.
Okay.
She doesn't shrug with her hands or her shoulders, but with her eyebrow. But it's quite enough for Barbara.
I roll the dice.
So they come up boxcars. Feel free to roll them again, Mr. Quill.
I roll them again.
They come up boxcars. I don't know how many times do you do that before you.
I'll do it one more time.
And they come up all 3 6s again.
Man, where were these when I was playing D&D?
Lack of potential.
We've discovered an interesting quality in some research that we've been had a couple of our researchers what little research we've been able to conduct in the area. But we've discovered a very interesting mathematical property with regards to this area, and that. I'm not going to get into the math of it because frankly I couldn't, but the quantum math surrounding the existence of the universe is much more simplified in this area. Put very simply, Mr. Quill, if you're familiar with the very basic math concept of rounding up to the nearest dollar, this area rounds. If the odds of anything happening are even so much as a millionth of a decimal point above 50%, it rounds to 100. And if it's below that, it rounds to 0. Or the worst possible result. Now, there are many possible ways that this phenomena could be leveraged, but we're not petty and we're not Atlantic City mafia. Uh, and honestly, I'm not. Yeah, it's foolish to think of things of that nature. However, if you can take a medical procedure and bring in one with only a 55% chance of success, and you can guarantee complete success on that procedure every single time. If any steps can be taken to bring that chance of a medical procedure up above this, up above that critical middle line to ensure absolute success of a medical procedure, we could turn this building into, we could save literally thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of lives whose chance of survival would, for all intents and purposes, very nearly be a coin toss, and ensure that not only would they recover, but they could recover in the under the best possible circumstances by leveraging the phenomena that's been created by whatever it is the Viertovians did here. We weren't looking for this. We were simply investigating this based on everything that had happened to find out what possible dangers or opportunities might have arisen from what they did. And I very much doubt that they even understood that this was what might have happened. And frankly, if I can be honest, our researchers don't really know why, but it is happening. And as I understand it from reading the papers and the news, you're a hero, Mr. Quill, and I thought that we could probably put some of our differences aside to be able to really accomplish some good here, some demonstrable life-saving good, or some more, if you like, by joining forces and doing something with this. And that's my proposal. And she slides a little, like just a single sheet of paper over with basically all of this basically spelled out, leveraging it's written in such language, leveraging the opportunities of this particular location for enhanced medical research and procedures to ensure the greater health and blah, 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 blah. But it's basically just a write up of what the proposal is. There's no signature lines. There's no any of that kind of stuff. It's a write up of what they're proposing. Basically what she already said, but in more like filing off the serial numbers type of language to say this is a weird place and we want to be able to leverage that for our own benefit or for the benefit of blah blah blah. They're talking like it's really close to, local utilities or something like that. Like it's got really good Wi-Fi is kind of how it's written.
Right.
And that's it. I would like to find out what your answer is as soon as possible, but I'm sure that you need to confer with your people. And she waves her hand sort of kind of in the air, and the rest of your people. But that's what's on the table. A few 100,000 lives that we can save.
Well, I'm certainly interested in saving lives. But you're right. This is the magnitude of what's being talked about here is so tremendous that I certainly need to do some talking with my people to consider what the best course would be that would avoid any potential problems or any unexpected tragedies stemming from this in the future. But
obviously the guidelines and procedures, best practices for this sort of thing would have to be, well, we'd have to lock down those probabilities to a nicety. But I think we have the capability of doing that. I think Rook and Quill working together for once certainly would have the capacity to do something like that. We could accomplish a great deal, Mr. Quill.
I have no doubt that a great deal could be accomplished here. And I will give this very, very serious consideration as to the best course to saving lives and making sure that whatever power or phenomena is at work here is used to the best purpose and to the benefit of humanity.
That is excellent to hear, Mr. Quill. I hope that we can come to a mutual agreement that we're both satisfied with. And that's everything I have. And unfortunately, I have a 5 o'clock, so I'm not going to be able to stay any longer. But
Please don't let me keep you. I should probably get going as well. Barbara, if we can get together, let's say tomorrow morning. I will get back with you later this evening to confirm that.
all right, and you can probably wait and have that conversation once Rose is out of the room. But
yeah,
she's
that's fine.
As soon as she's out, is this for real? Is this? And she gestures kind of at the dice that are still on the table, all sitting up sixes.
I can tell you that that's not how those dice were rolling out there. So either they've done something to tweak the probabilities in here.
We can get some people in to test the building or test.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll want to do some further testing ourselves to see if we can confirm.
Do you want to do that, or do you want
any documentation? Actually, we should ask for any of their research and documentation to see if it's reproducible.
Oh, that's excellent. We can get them to bring a little bit more forward. Do you want R&D on this, or do you want to handle it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, let's see what the parameters of this are. I mean, but I will be perfectly honest, Barbara. I do not trust Rosa Rook any further than I can throw her.
Somebody find me the Obama gif of him kind of gesturing with his hand, going, "Huh?" Like, of course, yeah. Like, who are you talking to? Of course not.
Yeah. So I'm not only looking at this gift horse in the mouth. I'm checking out its entire skeletal structure. I want it anally probed. I want it, and even then, I'm going to try to figure out a way to keep her hands off of something that could have so many possibilities that could be abused. I mean, yes, could lives be saved this way? Absolutely. Do I trust that that's what Rosa Rook is really looking for here? Not in the least.
Well, they do have a pretty strong research arm. They are probably not wrong about it. I'm not arguing for this at all. I just
imagine if they also have a scientific procedure that can help them turn lead into gold, but only operates half the time. 55% of the time, the other 45% of the time, it turns it into plutonium and it explodes. Now they've got a way to make gold. I mean, I'm throwing a thing out, but I'm saying this could be exploited in a lot of ways that would be not to humanity's benefit, but to
Absolutely.
Rook's
And
benefit.
there's a fair argument that the best way to keep your eyes on them, if they do, I mean, they could be sneaking around behind our back making use of this sort of thing, or they could be doing it where we have people on the ground as well. I don't know. I wouldn't have.
If it's a choice between getting in bed with Rosa Rook and having her find a way to get hold of this site exclusively, then I'll lay back and think of Halcyon.
Oh, I didn't need that image. I didn't need that image before supper.
But I would need a lot of convincing that those are the only alternatives, and that we can't potentially win this fight.
I'll get R&D on everything that we can manage.
Okay.
Everything we can find.
I appreciate it, Barbara.
All right.
Thank you.
As soon as she's gone.
Charlotte
comes out.
Yeah.
You know that this is all sepia probabilities. That the wound has to be closed.
I mean,
can't stay open.
It's not. This is the weird thing. I mean, it's not weird. It's like the sepia probabilities, but it's not like the sepia probabilities. On the sepia side, the odds of it's like the odds of good stuff happening have been dramatically reduced, and the options have been limited. Like where there were millions of opportunities, there's only a few, and only a few of those are positive. This one has been more like reduced to like basic
Binomial.
common yeah, it's not quantum mechanics anymore. It's literally ones and zeros, and it's going to be one or the other. And 51% always rounds up to 100, period. And 50 probably rounds up it because that's basic elementary school math. And 49 always rounds down to 0. It's been super simplified, and it's definitely an aspect of whatever the hell happened. But I don't want it to be. I don't want you to walk away from it and process this and think about it with the expectation that it's acting like the CP1st, because it's not. Certainly, closing the wound would make that go away, but first figure out how. So it may become a non-issue.
Well, I mean, this could be, this, because of the way that it was detonated and where and everything. This could be
a unique,
an opening, a unique into someplace else as far as that goes.
You have a very easy way of determining whether or not it's unique, because you have another wound like a jog away from here. So, I mean, this was near the cemetery, and there's an opening at the cemetery too that may or may not do.
So you're saying that we could see from the other side if there's a
no, I'm saying you could test it in the cemetery and see if the
They
dice
roll the dice.
See it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy test.
Sure.
And yes, it does seem to be behaving the same way, at least.
Oh, in the cemetery? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even gonna, in 4 minutes it would take you to walk over there. It's easy to go over there.
In the cemetery, the dice always roll 3s and 4s. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it is, at least in these two areas, seems to be a thing that's happening. But Rosa Rook's not going to sell building a hospital on cemetery ground. On the other hand, converting a 28-story building into a medical research facility, that's a thing that could happen.
That could happen.
And okay, this has been such a weird session. Okay, it is 10:30. It is a school night. Is it okay if we start next session with everything at the Quill compound? Because we have 2 big scenes there for sure that we need to do, I think.
Sure. I'm cool with that.
Season 2 has gotten off to a rocky start, but just in terms of pacing and stuff like that. But I think we can get things rolling back again. Did anybody else have anything else they wanted to get done before we do the sort of dinner meeting and whatever the hell else we do with the
dinner and a show.
Dinner and a show. Dinner and a electrocuting Jason's frontal cortex. No. Electrocution therapy. Shock therapy. That's what the word is. Does anybody anything else you want to get to? Did we put everybody else to sleep?
No.
No. Okay. I apologize. The pacing, as I said, guys, was a little bit off, but I think we got. I wanted to kind of get the high school stuff established because there's some stuff there that I think will be fun to kind of get into a little bit later, and gets us up to the quill thing. I was kind of hoping to do the quill stuff tonight too, but it's getting pretty late. So stuff to think about.
Yes.
Jason. Closer to the team, further away, or more into your own image of yourself? More into your own image of. Oh my God, there's so much text over here in the chat bar. I'm terrified now. I got to read about this because James is explaining the tribe stuff. I got to go back in.
She's trying to lure Jason into a GURPS game. Don't do it.
Yeah, actually, yeah. The whole area where the quantum collapse takes effect. Oh yeah, for sure, Bill. There's no doubt about the fact this could be leveraged.
Oh, the possibilities for I was kind of picking an example out of my ass, but the potential for all sorts of other shenanigans.
Yeah. Whether or
Equally
not
awful.
the problem is with testing, it's like, well, there's a chance that this is going to work. Doesn't quite carry outside. It's like there's a chance this weapon will work. Yeah, that we can make that 100% chance while it's here. It won't mean that it works 100% of the time the rest of the time. On the other hand, there's a chance we can get this, test this theory. There's a chance this theory will prove to be correct. That can carry, which is, yeah, for weapons research and stuff like there's.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like Leo's robots work everywhere. Obviously, the process of making those robots was arduous, but his power short-circuited that process.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. And that's kind of what's happening here. The amount of, honestly, half the experimentation, the medical thing is the obvious one. Like, okay, this procedure has a, roughly 50 to 60% success rate. That's not good money, good odds for somebody if there's another, like, far more painful, arduous, slow process to deal with some sort of medical condition. If we can guarantee that that works 100% of the time, that's an easy one because it's a one shot and off, and the effects just sort of maintain afterwards, which is great. And it's also a really good selling point. But I mean, honestly, let's be honest. Once you get into an area like this, half the experimentation that's going on there is just figuring out what this means for various stuff. The potential for abuse, accidental misuse and stuff is astronomical. I mean, ironically, because the probabilities have been downshifted so far, that the potential in other ways is through the roof for weirdness. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like really critical not to just kind of let Rosa get access to that.
Right. And right now being blocked, I mean, who knows what the, how long that could stay in courts for literally years, or just nobody, whatever. Or it could be short circuited in some other drastic way that she would prefer to avoid. Who knows? Anyway, limited partnership.
I'm actually gonna say that I grew a bit more into my image of myself.
Okay. Go ahead and shift your labels accordingly.
Yep.
As you see fit. James, I apologize for those of you guys. Some of you guys didn't get a lot of time. I mean, obviously, I don't usually, that doesn't carry, but I'll keep in mind that we didn't get a lot of, there's a lot of talking. Literally no dice rolls. My God, did we get through a whole game with no dice rolls? Wow. Charlotte, we'll stick with Charlotte. Charlotte, closer to the team, further away, more enduring image of yourself. What's
Image of myself.
Okay. Shift your labels as you see fit. Concord.
We'll say Harry grew closer to Harry.
Okay. Harry, if you already had influence over Concord, you can shift labels. Concord, you can pick up clear a condition if you have them, or pick up potential. Harry.
Closer to Adam.
Aw. You guys bonded over lunch, and Carrie acting like a goon. She is part of the reason that she doesn't really go like have a secret identity is because she's just very bad at it and can't take it seriously. Which may be a risk for Adam going forward, but is what it is. Closer to Adam, so shift label, or Adam, unleash hell upon his labels as you see fit. And Link, what say you?
Leo was pretty static, so I'm going to go with the default of grew to the image of myself.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we didn't. It's weird. Weird session, but kind of feel like we're trying to shake off the season 2 dust and get things rolling. It just does kind of feel like that's a big transition. All right. Next time, we split Jason's head wide open, talk about Alicia and possibly other stuff. And we will carry on that way. I'm almost nervous because I have noticed a direct correlation between there's downtime between one session and the next and the massive proliferation of fiction. It's like, oh, we have a couple of days downtime. I can fill that up with stuff happening. Off we go. But
we got a whole first day of school to write about.
oh my god, I'm actually super excited. I'm just last week was super crazy, so I felt like I was like I'm not keeping up. Anyway, all right, guys, thank you very much. I look forward to next week and seeing. Do you have conditions right now, Jason?
I have no conditions.
Oh, that's too bad, actually. That would help with your merge. Maybe people can make you feel really terrible before you have to do the zipper merge. Oh, somebody picked up. What happened? Well, okay, first of all, why is Mercury rolling?
The label shift.
Yep.
The label shift?
Concord grew closer. Mercury shifted labels.
No, but why did Mercury roll?
To
Oh,
roll.
because we had gone through the entire session without rolling.
Oh, I see. You were just doing it for the heck of it. Oh, I see. And then Adam picked up angry. Picked up afraid. Oh, because you tried to shift something on. Because Harry shifted something on you that couldn't move anymore. Crazy.
Oh wait. I lucked out. He tried to shift my savior.
Oh, and Savior's
Savior
locked.
can't move.
You got a couple of
No,
there.
I didn't.
Where are you at? Where did Mercury try and shift you? I don't see it.
For the
Mundane and danger.
poop. Nope, that was mine. Never mind.
Yeah, mundane up, danger down. Is your mundane already capped? Oh, your mundane's already capped.
My mundane is 3.
Right. Take that condition.
I will.
Take it. You're a Nova. You're fine with that. Gotta have those conditions. All right, guys. Thanks very much.
I
will.
Say, I gotta do this.
And we will. Got to roll burn. You loading up for next week?
Yeah.
There you go.